In the dim glow of London's war rooms, May 1944 pulsed with tension as General Dwight D. Eisenhower, Supreme Allied Commander, leaned over maps of Normandy's jagged coast, his broad shoulders hunched beneath a khaki tunic, frayed at the cuffs. Operation Overlord, the audacious plan to liberate Europe from Nazi grip, teetered on the edge of execution, its success hinging on a delicate balance of weather, secrecy, and the unprecedented coordination of 156,000 Allied troops across 5 beaches: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juneau, and Sword. Eisenhower, his Kansas drawl steady despite sleepless nights, faced a room of generals, British, American, Canadian, each voice a sharp note in a chorus of urgency, their eyes fixed on him for D-Day's final call. Ultra decrypts, painstakingly decoded German Enigma signals from Bletchley Park, revealed Field Marshal Erwin Rommel's Atlantic Wall, a sprawling fortress of bunkers, mines, and barbed wire stretching along France's northern shores. Eisenhower's meteorologist, Group Captain James Stagg, delivered grim news of impending Channel storms, but a narrow window on June 5th glimmered with possibility. His pen scratched orders, each stroke committing 2 million men, 11,000 aircraft, and 7,000 ships to the greatest invasion in history. Failure would delay liberation, perhaps for years, ceding Europe to Hitler's iron rule. "We go," he murmured, his voice resolute. The Channel's choppy waters a gamble he could not refuse. Normandy's beaches his chosen battleground, their sands destined to drink the blood of thousands. Private Mike Callahan, a 20-year-old paratrooper in the 101st Airborne Division, trudged through the muddy fields of Berkshire, England, his M1 Garand rifle slung across his back, its barrel glinting in the drizzle. A Chicago farm boy with a shock of red hair, Callahan had enlisted to escape the monotony of cornfields, his mother's rosary tucked in his pocket, a quiet shield against the fear knotting his gut. His platoon, led by Lieutenant Jack Riley, a wiry West Pointer with a penchant for barking orders, practiced night jumps over mock hedgerows, their parachutes tangling in gnarled oaks, the looming drop into Normandy a test of nerve. Callahan's bunkmate, Private Joey Russo, a Brooklyn wisecracker with a penchant for card tricks, joked about sipping French wine in Paris, but Mike's thoughts were fixed on Caen, where paratroopers would seize vital bridges to link beachheads. Ultra decrypts, shared in hushed briefings, warned of German panzer divisions lurking near Carentan, their 88mm guns a deadly threat. Callahan's jump boots scuffed the sodden earth, his heart racing as C-47 sky trains droned overhead. The Channel's gray horizon a promise of chaos, his mother's prayers a whisper against the roar of impending war. Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery, commander of the 21st Army Group, stood in a Portsmouth command tent, his black beret tilted at a defiant angle, maps of Normandy's coast sprawled before him like a chessboard. Monty, a wiry Englishman with a schoolmaster's precision, orchestrated the British and Canadian assault on Gold, Juneau, and Sword beaches, his 83,000 men drilling relentlessly on Dorset's cliffs. Xan, Normandy's rail and road hub, was his primary objective, its capture essential to anchor the Allied advance and outflank German defenses. Monty's voice, clipped and brimming with confidence, rallied his officers, his rivalry with American generals like Omar Bradley simmering beneath a thin veneer of civility. Ultra decrypts confirmed that Rommel's 7th Army, deceived by Operation Fortitude's Phantom Army at Calais, remained 200 miles from Normandy, a strategic coup. Monty sipped lukewarm tea, his calm a facade masking the weight of command. His Sherman tanks and Churchill crocodiles loaded onto landing craft, their engines rumbling, Gold Beach's sands his first test. Cannes' distant church spires a tantalizing prize through the morning mist. Sergeant Tom Harris, a 28-year-old Royal Fusilier in the 50th Northumbrian Division, trained on Dorset's rugged cliffs, his Lee Enfield rifle polished to a dull sheen, his Cockney grit a spark amid the rain-soaked ranks. A veteran of Dunkirk's 1940 evacuation, Harris bore physical and emotional scars from that retreat. His wife Elsie, his steadfast anchor, her letters from London's East End tucked carefully in his pack, their edges creased from constant handling. His squad, led by Captain George Baxter, a stern Oxford man, practiced beach landings, their landing craft pitching in the channel's swells, the men seasick but resolute. Harris's closest mate, Corporal Billy Shaw, a Newcastle lad with a boxer's build, cursed the relentless rain, but Tom's thoughts were on Gold Beach, where German bunkers bristled with MG-42s. Ultra briefings, delivered in a windswept tent, warned of the 716th Infantry Division's defenses, their coastal guns a lethal threat. Harris sharpened his bayonet, its edge glinting, Elsie's faded photo his talisman, the Channel's roar a call to redeem Dunkirk's shame, his squad's banter a shield against the fear coiling in his chest. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, commander of Army Group B, inspected concrete bunkers along Omaha Beach, his boots sinking into Normandy's damp sand. The Atlantic Wall's 4,000 miles of mines, pillboxes, and barbed wire a testament to his defensive vision. The Desert Fox, his face weathered from North African campaigns, knew the wall was incomplete. His 500,000 men spread thinly across France, hampered by Berlin's delays and Hitler's mistrust. Ultra-decrypts, unknown to him, fueled Allied confidence. But Rommel sensed an invasion, his instincts honed by years of outmaneuvering foes. He urged General Hans von Salmuth, commanding the 15th Army at Calais, to reinforce Normandy. But von Salmuth, misled by Fortitude's deception, dismissed the plea. Rommel's aide, Major Hans Speidel, reported French resistance sabotage, cut rail lines, bombed depots, and Rommel's jaw tightened, his thoughts drifting to his wife, Lucy, in Herlingen, her letters a quiet refuge. He drove to Paris for a meeting, unaware D-Day loomed, Omaha's bunkers his last bulwark, the Channel's deceptive calm a prelude to catastrophe. Obergefreiter Fritz Weber, a 19-year-old soldier in the 352nd Infantry Division, manned an MG-42 machine gun bunker perched above Omaha Beach, his hands calloused from months of digging trenches, the concrete walls damp with sea spray and mildew. A Hamburg baker's son conscripted in 1943, Weber had grown up on his father's grim tales of Verdun, the Great War's mud a shadow over his youth. His squad, led by Lieutenant Karl Heinz, a Prussian with a clipped voice, watched the Channel's horizon, unaware of Ultra's secrets, their bunker a claustrophobic world of cold rations and flickering lanterns. Weber's letters to his sister Greta spoke wistfully of Hamburg's bustling docks, but fear gnawed at him, the beach's barbed wire and minefields his only shield. Allied bombers droned overhead, their contrails streaking the dawn sky, and Fritz checked his MG-42's ammunition belt, its 1,200 rounds a fleeting promise of survival. Rommel's orders to hold the coast echoing in his mind, the waves below a restless harbinger. Marie Dubois, a 24-year-old French resistance operative, crouched in a barn near Caen, her dark hair hidden beneath a tattered scarf, her radio transmitter concealed under a pile of hay. A schoolteacher before the German occupation, Marie had joined the Maquis after her brother's execution by the Gestapo in 1940, her courage forged in grief. Her resistance cell, led by the grizzled Jean Moreau, sabotaged rail lines and telephone cables, disrupting German supply chains. Ultra decrypts, relayed through London's Special Operations Executive, confirmed Marie's intelligence on panzer movements, amplifying her impact. Moreau warned of Gestapo raids sweeping Normandy's villages, but Marie's mother, still in Caen, fueled her resolve, her prayers a silent strength. Marie planted explosives on a rail bridge, her hands steady despite the risk, the blast's distant rumble a signal to Allied planners, her radio crackling with London's coded thanks, Caen's liberation, her unwavering vow, the hedgerows beyond the barn, her shadowed battlefield. In the final days of May, Eisenhower finalized D-Day for June 5th, his Southwick House command post a hive of clattering typewriters and urgent radios, Stagg's revised forecast offering a slim window through the storms, Callahan's 101st Airborne loaded onto C-47 Skytrains at Greenham Common, their faces blackened with charcoal, parachutes bulging, the weight of their mission seizing Carentan's bridges, pressing on their shoulders. Montgomery briefed his 21st Army Group aboard HMS Bulolo, his maps marked with Caen's rail lines, Sherman tanks rumbling onto landing craft, their crews braced for Gold Beach's bunkers. Harris's Royal Fusiliers boarded their craft at Southampton, seasickness roiling their guts, Baxter's orders sharp, Elsie's photo steadying Tom's hand. Rommel, dining in Herlingen for Lucy's birthday, dismissed reports of Allied paratroopers as a feint, Fortitude's Calais ruse holding firm, his absence a fatal gap. Weber's Omaha bunker ran drills, Heinz's voice barking, the channel's calm deceptive, Fritz's pulse racing as dawn neared. Dubois detonated a German fuel depot, flames lighting the Norman night, her radio relaying panzer positions, Gestapo patrols circling closer, her heart pounding with the promise of invasion. At 1 a.m., June 6th, Callahan's C-47 crossed Normandy's coast, flak shredding its wings, the sky a chaos of tracer fire and bursting shells. Riley shouted, "Jump!" and Mike plunged, his parachute snagging on a hedgerow near Sainte-Mère-Église, German searchlights sweeping the dark. He cut free, landing in a muddy ditch, his M1 Garand cocked, Rousseau missing in the chaos, SS troops closing in. Harris's landing craft hit Gold Beach at 7:25 a.m., shells bursting overhead, barbed wire tearing uniforms, his squad storming bunkers, Billy wounded by shrapnel, Baxter shouting to advance. Weber's MG-42 roared on Omaha, mowing down American waves, his hands shaking, Heinz screaming orders, blood pooling on the bunker's floor. Montgomery's Sherman tanks rolled ashore, their 75mm guns firing, Caen's outskirts in sight, Monty's voice steady on the radio. Dubois relayed German counterattack plans from a Caen attic, her radio hidden, Gestapo boots echoing in the village. Eisenhower, aboard HMS Apollo off Normandy, watched reports flood in, Rommel racing back from Germany, the 7th Army scrambling, D-Day's tide turning, the beachheads, bloodied, battered, but held, marking liberation's first fragile foothold, Normandy's sands a crucible of courage and sacrifice. June 7, 1944, dawned crimson over Normandy's beaches, the sands of Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juneau, and Sword, littered with the wreckage of D-Day, shattered landing craft, bloodied packs, and 10,000 Allied casualties. General Dwight D. Eisenhower, in his Falaise command post, sifted through reports, his face lined with fatigue, his khaki tunic creased from sleepless nights. The Allies held a 50-mile beachhead, 156,000 troops ashore. But the cost was steep, and German counterattacks loomed. Ultra-decrypts confirmed Field Marshal Erwin Rommel's return to La Roche-Guyon. His Panzer Group West, 1,500 tanks, redeploying from Calais, where Operation Fortitude's deception had pinned them. Eisenhower, his Kansas drawl steady, urged Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery to seize Caen, its rail hub vital for the Allied breakout toward Falaise and Paris. His staff, a hive of clattering radios and urgent voices, relayed orders for 2,000 aircraft to pound German positions, 12,000 tanks and artillery massing for the push inland. Eisenhower's pen scratched updates for Churchill, the hedgerows beyond the beaches, thick, ancient, laced with German machine guns, a new battlefield, the Channel's fleeting calm a memory. Liberation's price tallied in every blood-soaked report flooding his desk. Private Mike Callahan, a 20-year-old paratrooper in the 101st Airborne Division, huddled in a Normandy hedgerow near Carrington, his M1 Garand caked with mud, his leg stinging from a D-Day shrapnel wound, his mother's rosary a cold weight in his pocket. The Chicago farm boy, separated from Lieutenant Jack Riley during the chaotic drop on June 6th, had reunited with Private Joey Russo, his Brooklyn bunkmate, in a ditch at dawn, Russo's arm bandaged from a sniper's bullet. Their platoon, now 20 men, held Carrington's bridges, vital for linking Utah and Omaha beachheads, but faced relentless assaults from the 17th SS Panzer Grenadier Division, ultra-decrypts warning of their 88mm guns and flamethrowers. Callahan's boots sank into the muddy earth, mortars bursting through the dawn mist. Riley's orders sharp over the din. A German grenade exploded nearby, shrapnel grazing Mike's arm, but he fired, killing a Panzer Grenadier, his heart pounding, Carrington's church spire a distant beacon through the hedgerow's green maze, his rosary a whispered prayer against the chaos of ambushes and death. Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery, in a Caen command post ringed by sandbags, directed the 21st Army Group's push inland, his black beret tilted defiantly, maps strewn with tank routes to Falaise, 40 miles south. Monty's 83,000 British and Canadian troops, backed by Sherman Firefly tanks with their lethal 17-pounder guns, bogged down in Normandy's hedgerows, the 21st Panzer Division's counterattacks stalling their advance on Caen. Ultra-decrypts revealed Rommel's redeployment of Panzer Group West, 1,500 tanks rolling toward Normandy, but Monty's RAF Typhoons, armed with rockets, pounded German convoys, their wrecks littering sunken lanes. His clipped voice, sharp with authority, clashed with American General Omar Bradley's over-tactics, Monty's focus on Caen unwavering, his tea growing cold as he studied aerial photos, the city's church spires taunting through morning mist, the hedgerows a British gauntlet, Caen's rubble a testament to weeks of grinding, bloody combat. Sergeant Tom Harris, a 28-year-old Royal Fusilier in the 50th Northumbrian Division, led his squad through Caen's shattered outskirts, his Lee Enfield rifle hot from firing, his Cockney grit a spark amid the rubble-strewn streets. A veteran of Dunkirk's 1940 evacuation, Harris bore physical scars, a shrapnel mark on his cheek, and emotional wounds from that retreat. His wife, Elsie, his steadfast anchor, her letters from London's East End creased in his pack, her photo a talisman against fear. His squad, led by Captain George Baxter, a stern Oxford man, faced German Panzer Befors, their 75mm guns blasting through bombed-out shops. Corporal Billy Shaw, wounded on Gold Beach, limped with an infected leg, his Newcastle banter fading. Harris's bayonet flashed, clearing a farmhouse-turned German strongpoint. Elsie's prayers steadying his hand, Ultra's warning of 12th SS Panzer snipers ignored in the chaos. A German mortar exploded, shrapnel missing, and Tom's heart raced. Caen's rubble a redemption from Dunkirk's shame. His squad's shouts drowned by the roar of Firefly tanks grinding through debris. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, back at his La Roche-Guyon headquarters, faced the collapse of his Army Group B, his face haggard from North Africa's defeats and the strain of D-Day's shock. Ultra decrypts, unknown to him, fueled Allied confidence. But the scale of the invasion, 156,000 troops, 2 million more massing, stunned him. Operation Fortitude's Calais ruse exposed as a masterstroke. His 500,000 men, spread across France, were outgunned. Panzer Group West's 1,500 tanks dwindling under RAF raids and French resistance sabotage. Rommel ordered the 12th SS Panzer Division to Caen. His aide, Major Hans Speidel, reporting blown bridges and ambushed convoys, the Maquis striking from hedgerows. Rommel's letters to his wife, Lucy, in Herlingen, spoke of dwindling hope, his jaw tightening as he studied maps. Caen's defense his priority. Normandy's fields his last stand. The Atlantic Wall a shattered dream crumbling under Allied steel. Obergefreiter Fritz Weber, a 19-year-old in the 352nd Infantry Division, retreated from Omaha Beach, his MG-42 abandoned in a shattered bunker, his shoulder bloodied from a shrapnel wound taken during D-Day's chaos. The Hamburg baker's son, conscripted in 1943, stumbled through Normandy's hedgerows, his squad's leader, Lieutenant Karl Heinz, killed by an American bazooka, the 352nd shattered. Weber's letters to his sister, Greta, speaking of Hamburg's docks, were lost in the retreat, fear choking him as Allied Sherman tanks rumbled nearby, their 75mm guns blasting through orchards. Ultra's secrets unknown, he joined a Panzer IV crew near Caen, their tank's 75mm gun firing at British scouts, Rommel's orders to hold the city his duty, the hedgerows a German trap, Fritz's hope in a Hamburg bakery fading, his hands trembling as he loaded shells, the Panzer's turret a steel coffin. Marie Dubois, a 24-year-old French resistance operative, relayed German retreat routes from a Caen attic, her radio transmitter hidden beneath floorboards, her dark hair tucked under a scarf to avoid Gestapo eyes. Her Maquis cell, led by the grizzled Jean Moreau, ambushed SS convoys in sunken lanes, ultra decrypts confirming her intelligence on panzer movements, amplifying her impact. Gestapo raids swept Caen's villages. But Marie's mother, now in a liberated district, sent coded messages of pride, fueling Marie's resolve. She planted explosives on a German fuel depot, the flames lighting the Norman night. Her heart racing as Allied typhoons roared overhead, her sabotage aiding Montgomery's advance. Caen's cobblestone streets a battlefield, liberation's flame burning brighter with each report she sent to London. By June 30th, Caen remained in German hands. Montgomery's offensive stalled in a quagmire of hedgerows and rubble, 50,000 Allied casualties mounting, the city's rail hub a tantalizing prize. Callahan's platoon seized Carentan after days of hedgerow ambushes, Rousseau's death a fresh wound, Riley's nod Mike's only solace, his leg wound aching under a field dressing. Harris's squad fought through Caen's bombed-out streets, Billy's infection worsening, Tom sparing a German sniper, his eyes hollow, Elsie's photo, his strength. Rommel's panzers counterattacked, Weber's Panzer IV crew decimated by a Firefly's 17-pounder, Fritz fleeing through orchards, his wound festering. Dubois' cell evaded a Gestapo sweep, her radio crackling with Ultra's latest, Moreau wounded but alive. Eisenhower, in a Falaise tent, urged Operation Cobra's launch, Ultra revealing German fuel and manpower shortages. Cobra's 2,000 tanks ready to break the stalemate. The hedgerows, thick with German snipers and mines, remained a bloody maze, but the Allied beachhead held firm. Normandy's fields a crucible for liberation's next phase. The road to Falaise and Paris, opening under a sky of smoke and fire.